Are you getting ready for the CELPIP test and feeling nervous about writing task 2? Writing task 2 requires you to express your opinion and explain your reasons in a clear and concise way. But don't worry, in this episode we will break down the task to provide you with some useful tips and strategies to help you write a winning response. So whether you're a beginner or looking to polish your skills, stick around until the end for valuable content. Don't forget to subscribe for valuable content and leave a comment below if you have any questions. Before moving forward, let's consider similarities and differences between task 1 and task 2 in writing. Similarities first. Both tasks require you to write within the range of 150 to 200 words. Both tasks, task 1 and task 2, have the same time limit. Task 1 27 minutes and task 2 26 minutes. Differences. Task 1 requires you to write an email, either formal or informal, based on the instructions given, typically addressing a supervisor, a colleague, or someone you have never been in contact before. But in task 2, you'll choose and explain an option based on a scenario with two options. If you haven't explored our CELPIP writing task 1 video, we'll provide you a link for your reference. Now let's consider task 2. In task 2, you will be presented a scenario that describes a situation on the left side of the screen. You need to read this information to understand the context. On the right side of the screen, you will be having two options that are related to this situation. Choose one option that you agree with more. Once you've chosen an option, your task is to explain the reasons for your preference. Focus on how this chosen option would impact you and the characters mentioned in the scenario. This is how task 2 looks like. As you see on the left side of the screen, we have the information that there is a scenario describes a situation. On the right side, after the instruction on the top, you have two options. You need to choose one as it was mentioned before. In order to respond effectively to task 2 scenario, when you start the writing, make sure you begin with a clear and concise introduction. This is where you state your chosen option and explain why you support it. Next, provide 2 to 3 reasons, actually, which is well developed, in order to support your choice. Each reason should be given its own paragraph for clarity. Remember, it's about the quality over quantity. So choose the best and the strongest reasons that effectively support your position. Immediately after the supporting paragraphs, you want to wrap up your writing and response in a conclusion. So, conclude your response with a brief summary of your main points. Reinforce your stance by reiterating why your chosen option is the most suitable. Keep this section concise and impactful. And in order to have a well structured concluding paragraph, do not simply repeat the information from the introduction and body paragraphs. Just restate your main points in a new way, demonstrating your vocabulary and writing skills. Summarize the key benefits of your chosen option. Also, try to just aim for one or two well structured sentences. Remember, a strong conclusion leaves a lasting impression and reinforces your arguments. Word count is another point that you have to take into consideration while writing task 2.
Always aim for a word count between 150 to 200 words. Staying within this range helps ensure you have enough details to support your reasons without exceeding the time limit. And about the structure, it should be mentioned that CELPIP is for general purposes, but still in the writing, there should be a structure that shows we have introduction, we have body paragraphs, and a conclusion. Having a good writing style is another point that you have to take into consideration before taking the CELPIP exam. You know, always maintain a formal tone throughout your writing response. In task 2, avoid informal language like slang and conversational greetings. One more point that I have to mention here is that this test allows you to use different styles. It means you can use email format in task 2 of CELPIP. So you should try to choose the best one that works well for you. But always remember that in task 2, clarity and conciseness are the key points. Focus on explaining your reasons in a logical and well structured manner. In order to build cohesion and coherence in your writing task 2, you need to plan before writing. So avoid writing immediately. Yet, take a few minutes to brainstorm your ideas and create an outline. This will help you organize your thoughts and structure your response effectively. There should be logical flow of information, and this will happen through structuring your response with a clear introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion. Do not forget to use transition words and phrases to create a smooth flow of information between these sections, like body paragraph, introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion. About the transition words, it should be mentioned that we have lots of transition words that you can Google and download it and use it. But here is an example. Here are some examples that you can take into consideration. Firstly, secondly, furthermore, in conclusion, in addition, however, therefore. But you should know how to use these in your writing. And the purpose, as it was mentioned before, is to help connect ideas, shift signal shifts in thought, and improve the overall flow of your writing. Remember, a well organized and cohesive response makes strong impression on the examiner. Taking time to plan and using transition words effectively will enhance your writing. In order to start writing, you need to choose between two types of formatting. The first one is to reason response format. In this format, you have four paragraphs: introduction, two body paragraphs, and a conclusion. On the other hand, in the three reason response format, you have five paragraphs: introduction, followed by three supporting or body paragraphs, and in the end, you have the conclusion. Before moving on to the applicable strategy for task 2, make sure to subscribe to our channel to get notified when we upload valuable content. Here is a brainstorming and outlining strategy applicable to the two reason scenario mentioned earlier in this episode. The scenario is the City Council is proposing to significantly reduce the number of bus routes, fewer buses, but more frequent service on remaining roads, or increase the frequency of buses on existing roads, more buses, but the same number of roads. In order to start writing, you need to do the brainstorming as usual. Number one is to consider the impact. List down the potential benefits and drawbacks of each option for yourself and other characters mentioned in the scenario. The first option is reduce bus roads. Benefits: less traffic congestion, potentially lower operating costs for the city. Drawbacks: longer wait times, difficulty reaching certain areas, potentially crowded buses. The second option, increased bus frequency. And the benefits of this option is reduced wait times, easier traveling during peak hours, more accessible public transportation for all residents. Drawbacks: increased operating cost for the city, potential crowding on buses. Now you need to choose your option based on your brainstorming and decide which option you support more. As you might have noticed in the brainstorming process, the benefits of the first option is the drawback in the second option, and vice versa. The drawback of the first option is the benefit for the second option. This is how you need to compare two options and bring reasons to support your points in the actual writing. Here we're going to outline what we're going to write. So we choose option 2 that says increase the frequency of buses on existing roads. In the introduction, we briefly state our chosen option. For example, you say, I believe increasing bus frequency is a more beneficial option. And supporting that, you need to mention one general reason to actually support it. For example, this would improve accessibility for residents. Then you have the first body paragraph. In the first body paragraph, you focus on the first specific reason to support your chosen option. In this paragraph, you need to support your chosen option and the reason by using details and examples from your brainstorming to explain the benefits. For example, shorter wave times would allow residents to spend less time commuting and more time on their daily activities. Then you move on to the second body paragraph. In the second body paragraph, as the name speaks for itself, you focus on the second specific reason to support your chosen option. Then again, you need to use details and examples from your brainstorming page to explain the benefits. For example, here you say increased bus frequency would encourage more people to use public transportation, reducing traffic congestion and benefiting the environment. The last but not least comes the conclusion. And in the conclusion, as it was mentioned earlier in this episode, we briefly restate our support for the chosen option. You mentioned the overall positive impact it would have. For example, in conclusion, increasing bus frequency would significantly improve accessibility, convenience, and environmental benefits for all residents. One more time, I just want to remind you that this is just a sample form of brainstorming, outlining, and formatting self-pip writing task 2. You can adjust the level of detail based on your writing style and word count. Also, use transition words and phrases in between paragraphs to create a smooth flow of information, like furthermore, additionally, or something else that you know. By following this brainstorming and outlining a strategy, you can effectively organize your thoughts and write a clear, concise, and well structured response for self-pip writing task 2. Here is the sample response within 4 paragraphs, as you see: paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and paragraph 4. Introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. I just put it here as a reference for you to just practice. Don't forget that. Practice makes perfect. At the end of this video, I'm putting some transition words for your references and try to use it. And if you have any questions, please comment down below. Thank you for watching so far. Please do not forget to subscribe to our channel for more valuable content. If you found this information valuable and worth sharing, please do not hesitate to share with whoever you think they might need it for their immigration purposes. Until then, have a great learning experience.